Thank you. This is part 4 of my first coaching session from Sandra Graves. Daniel, what do you think about the questions and what do you think about the answers that you wrote? The 8 questions are great because before we can help someone, we need to know how the person thinks and feels. The police often ask their prisoners to write something about what happened. If the prisoner responds with 1 sentence or less, then the police interrogator knows how to deal with the prisoner. If the prisoner writes 10 pages or more about what happened, then the police interrogator knows how to deal with this prisoner. Alright, about question number 1. The question was, think about what you see and how you hope your kids see you. Alright. I wrote about how I think my kids see me, and I wrote about how I see myself. I'm very happy with myself. I have a positive self-image. However, how do I want my kids to see me? That's what the question asked, and I didn't answer that. So, I want my son to see me just like he does. I am his hero. Now, with my daughter, I want to be her hero also. For instance, kids that grew up on a farm and had chores to do, like my grandpa. He had to feed the cat and the dog before he was allowed to eat breakfast. My grandpa was rich. He had land. But why did he have those things? Because of the chores that he did as a kid. He always had something to do. He wasn't just playing the equivalent to video games, playing marbles, I think, all day long. No. He was learning valuable things. So, he did have many issues with his parents. They both kidnapped him, one from the other. So he grew up without other children to play with. He was always alone. There was one cousin or something. No, it's his half-sister or something. I don't know. That she married the first captain of a ship, of a submarine. The first nuclear submarine. She married that man. She lived in California. Wow. So, what do I need to say here? Let me read it. Alright, I liked all the questions because they help me see what I am doing right and wrong so that I can correct my behavior and daily activities. My answer to this question number 1 was right on the money. I already knew that I was flunking out as a dad with my daughter and doing an excellent job with my son. The only part I left out is I hope they will see me. For instance, tough love. If you don't feed the cats or the dog, then you don't get breakfast. I think that's fair. Children have to learn to be responsible. Now, I used to be super responsible as a kid. I would even work at cleaning toilets at the church and give all the money to my mother. then at the pizzeria, and then I would give all my money to my mother. I was 19 when I finally started keeping $50 so I could go to my Tai Chi classes. Because I was skinny and afraid, and I said, I do need to learn how to fight. Because of the childhood that I had, I would lose. I lost 1,000 fights. All right. So I didn't want that to continue. So I corrected. I took corrective measures. Basically, by taking martial arts classes, I gained confidence in one area. And I didn't even know I was gaining confidence. I knew I could get confidence from a skill. Mechanics have it, carpenters have it. You can tell by the way they walk and the way they work and the way they have money in their pocket. I mean, you don't have money, you don't have confidence, but it shouldn't be attached to money, but it helps. So I remember one time in Tai Chi Chuan on a Sunday with another school, and that was the first time I dropped the person. And I had just learned the trick. That particular trick I had just learned the weekend before on the beach where someone dropped me. This guy from Europe saw me practicing, and then he wanted to push hands with me, and then he dropped me, and I didn't even know what he did. I was so in shock. I mean, when you fall like that, you don't know. You just fall, boom. Wait, what the? I didn't even see him touch me. How did I fall? So and then I'm so grateful that guy decided to teach me the trick he used on me to drop me so fast. And I know I dropped the man. I hope I taught him what I did. I don't know if he wanted to learn or he just instantly didn't want to continue pushing hands with me. And it was a friendly match. It was, well, so I dropped one person in my life, in my Tai Chi career. Let's see. Well, I think I dropped one person. And, well, I know one thing. I became difficult to get dropped myself. I became way better. All right. Question number 2 was, what can I tell my kids in 5 or 10 years that I did and I was very proud of, other than having them or caring for them? All right. This question number 2 helped me to realize how important making the videos on YouTube is for me and for my audience, and one day for my children to see and learn from these videos from me. As Einstein said about sex, no secrets. All right, I read a book about his quotes. No secrets. I'm happy with my YouTube videos because I give real life stories about my experience here on earth and outside of the Bible, speaking about the flaws of the heroes in the Bible, like Samson, King David, etc. There are very few books about modern heroes like Abraham Lincoln. Did Abraham Lincoln, for instance, talk about topics like masturbation? I believe Lincoln never mentioned it in his diary, which I have not yet read, but probably I will read, or at least I will Google it someday, probably very soon. All right, now Benjamin Franklin did mention a fight he had on a rowboat at age 17. with his friend, whom Franklin threw overboard by lifting his standing attacker. Okay, the friend got up and went to strike him. So Franklin lifted this attacker from the crotch when his attacker stepped towards him. And then Franklin flipped him overboard. So I'm with Franklin. Little details like this one, are super important to our youth, since nobody is communicating anymore. I mean, grandparents don't tell stories to their grandkids. Parents are too messed up with their problems, so they don't tell stories either. So people can get these stories from me, or from others like me. Like if you read about biographies, maybe you can learn something from them. One story from my grandpa was, he had a bunch of brothers, but two of his brothers were walking around and they saw a man hanging from a tree. Now it was either a suicide or a murder. So they took him down, and then they went to tell my grandpa, Salvador, right? And my grandpa instantly said, it is wrong. He was the older brother. He said, it is wrong to touch the scene of the crime. Now the police will think that you did it. So they went back and hung the dead man to the tree branch. Again. I don't know if they eventually went to report it or not, but if you see a dead person, don't touch the body, all right? Oh, and I've seen YouTube videos about like there was this woman being attacked, and so she said, I don't fight, and she took out her gun and shot at the other woman, but I think she missed. But then the crowd took away the gun from her. How else did the gun fall on the floor? I don't know. Maybe the other woman kept attacking. Who knows? But a man picked up the gun. You're not supposed to pick it up. You're not supposed to touch it. I mean, the only way I would touch it is if I had to use it to defend myself. That's the only way. But I mean, there was two women fighting, and the gun's over here, and I'll pick up the gun. No, just stand over it, you know. If anything, don't let anybody touch it, you know, because they could shoot you with it. But don't touch the gun if if that happens. All right, let's continue. Question number 3: what do I do well, and how am I using it now? Oh yes, this was a great question because it helps me feel great about myself. My talent is not being bashful and docile anymore. Now I am a happy man that is on the verge of accomplishing something fantastic. God is creating through me. God is creating through me. I know this since He put the desires into my heart. Bunker Roy, the founder of the Barefoot College in India, in Tilonia, India, followed his dream and made it happen. I must do the same. Alright, what do I do well? I talk to people very well. I'm friendly. I'm a great teacher. I couldn't get along in a public school. I could get along in a college because you're allowed to talk about sex and any adult subject. Whereas in high school, you're not allowed to talk to anybody. about topics besides math, English, history, etc. It's very restricted. There is no free speech there. Alright, question number 4. What do I do wrong and how is it affecting me? Well, not working, right, was my answer. Well, Will Smith had warned me via his YouTube video about an individual in any society that does not contribute, and this is the quotes, will be voted out. Will be voted out. Not working and paying off the spouse took away my freedom. For 7.5 days the first time, plus 5 days the second time. Only a year ago, I had seen the story of Ruth, the movie, on Netflix, and I was too dull to connect the dots to see that commandment number 9 was about to be used falsely against me by the spouse and my mother. Alright, so what do I do wrong? I don't work. And what is that? Alright. So I don't work, but I have air conditioning. I don't work, but I have internet. I don't work, but I still get to see my kids. I know one police type person, well, police work. He doesn't see his kids. He lost custody. And he's a slave, the way I look at it. All he does is work, 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 and the money goes to his ex-wife. He's not the only one. There's also the teacher I had, Mr. Hunter, right? Both of these men are military, and this one was in the Coast Guard. I didn't know the Coast Guard existed until I was 25. No, I was working at the gas station, 24, 23. Wow. And even then, I didn't know what they did. The coast is like the coast surrounding the country, all right? And the Coast Guard makes sure that people that arrive by boat, that they have the proper papers to come into the country, and that they're not smuggling drugs or something. You know, they do that sort of thing. So I by not working, I still have many pleasures. Let's see, the pleasures that I don't have, well, I don't get to spend as much time as I want with my kids, but I see them. My son is the only one that goes to the park with me and spars with me, and runs with me, plays with me. Well, he runs, I ride a bicycle. The daughter, I have 0 activities with her. And it's interesting because one time I went to the gas station with my daughter, and she was a quiet church mouse. Whereas over here, she's the queen bee. Her attitude is something that I've had many years also. You don't expect me to do that, do you? Who do you think you are? You're going to tell me what to do. That's her attitude, and that is my attitude also. But now, of course, I've had to humble myself, because by talking back to the spouse, one phone call to the police and I get Baker acted again. So instead of talking back, I just say, may I help you? And usually she wants to argue, so it's, but when I say, may I help you? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? That stops everything. That really stops everything. There is just no arguing. Alright, so what do I do wrong and how is it affecting me? That was the question. Alright, so I am using my time wisely. I am paying off the spouse right now by not letting her see me. Since I am in this room 95% of the time, the spouse is super happy about this. I am happy to be using my time productively. Now, I do have peace and quiet, so I am making great progress by making videos as a therapy treatment for myself. So I am becoming a better person by staying in this room. Question number 5. Why am I still trying to do anything? For what reason? Well, this question has helped me return to the root cause of my situation. This spouse has been kryptonite for me. But now, God has sent me allies like Miss Sandra Graves and my son, and the internet, the access to the internet, so that I may go through or around any obstacles. Where I failed, my son will succeed. The children of my half-brothers in Honduras will have a better life thanks to God and his human allies. Tony Robbins did say that we all have the need to contribute. My answer to your question tells me to whom I want to contribute. Now I need to find a way to make it happen. Question number 6. What does happiness and respect mean to me? Let's see how long this video is. Whoa! I'll make another one coming up right now.